Conor doesn't need to fight. He has everything. I respect the fact that he's coming back to fight so much because it shows that he's a fighter in his heart. You know, me, I got to a certain level and I decided to walk away. You know, Conor, he's back. It shows that he's still that fighter despite having so much success. I'm rooting for him. Proud of Conor. I'm a massive fan. I think I will be for the rest of my life. You know, he has had a lot of struggles, ups and downs, just like I have, but he always gets back on his feet, which is a huge example to so many out there. So
I don't know where Conor's training. I know that the media says he's training in Ireland. But I know when I turn my television on, Jimmy Fallon's couch isn't in Ireland. I know that the media says that Conor is training back home in Dublin. But I know when I see Conor interviewing with Ariel that that's done in New York. And I know that Conor isn't bouncing back and forth from LA to Dublin, from New York to Dublin. I just know that he's not doing that. That means he's stationed somewhere here, stateside, somewhere in America. Great. Where? And moreover, how do I not know where? The community is very small. And if Conor McGregor walked into your gym, someone's going to be pulling out an iPhone. Somebody's going to want a selfie. Somebody's going to want a video. Some training partner is going to want a little bit of rub on social media, get a sweaty picture of him and Conor. Whatever coach is holding mitts, for example, is going to want a little bit of rub on social media, and they're going to have somebody take a photo and or film a few seconds that they can post on their social media. I don't know who those coaches are. I don't know who those workout partners are, and I don't know what gym this is taking place at. That's on you,
Morgan.
This was the perfect matchup to bring him back, right? I mean, this was the one to do it, right? You've got history, which makes it more fun, but you've got that stylistic matchup. So I think the UFC matchmakers, the brass, they did a great job of picking the return opponent. Now, to where you started, is he going to be a shell of himself? Man, listen, bottom line is that many years away, that many years of, hey, by the way, you already won the game. And yeah, you're working out, but are you really, you know, I mean, not only are you sleeping in silk sheets, like they're bringing new silk sheets for you every day. You're throwing away those silk sheets and they bring the new, you know what I mean? Like this man reached a level of fame and wealth and magnitude, just unbelievable, right? So everything that I know about the fight game tells me that what Conor McGregor is trying to do is damn near impossible. To turn back the clock, to compete at that level again, you just don't do it. That said, you do have to at least throw out the caveat that Conor McGregor is something unique and special and different that performs and shows up in these moments like nobody.
With just 2 weeks left before the biggest fight of his comeback, Conor McGregor has dropped a fresh batch of training footage, and the MO world is already buzzing over it. Fans can't seem to agree on what it means. Is this proof the Notorious is finally rounding back into form, or is it just another well-produced highlight reel? As the clips spread across social media, the debate around his fight with Max Holloway keeps getting more divided by the day. Former champions, top-ranked fighters, veteran coaches, and analysts are all weighing in, but their predictions are all over the map. So what's actually being said? And more importantly, does McGregor genuinely have what it takes to pull off one of the greatest comebacks the UFC has ever seen?
Actually, I like Conor.
I think Conor gonna win. Conor, because this fight will be
170.
170. Yeah, 170. Conor has more strength, more power, and for Holloway, he will. I think he will like slower down himself because his weight. He's big. He's not like a fake 145 that fast. So he gonna be slower, and I think Connor got more power and knocked out power. And this fight definitely gonna be, you know, stance fight, right? Striking. Yeah, both of them like strikers, so it's gonna be good fight. But I think Connor will win. Yeah, more chance in the fight.
Man, I'm gonna say Holloway just because he's been active, very active. But I mean, I don't know. Anything can happen. Connor has that power. They're fighting at 170. Connor's probably been at 170 for a while. I think this is Max's first fight at 170. So I mean, who knows? This is a toss up for me. It might be a toss up.
I'm gonna go Max Holloway. I think he'll actually probably finish him.
Yeah, I got to go with Max. I feel like anytime someone has 4 or 5 years off, it's not great. And we just saw this recently with Ron Rousey.
He's the king, man. Look, maybe he's not the best fighter in the world. He's the king. He did more for mixed martial arts than any single fighter did for any combat sport in the world. He did more for that, and he's back, and he's the best Conor McGregor I've ever seen. Talking to him is like talking to a guy that I don't even know. He's unbelievably focused. He's unbelievably trained. He's fast. He's furious, and he's ready to cause some damage. I will be there front row at that UFC event and rooting him on. I think it's going to be, I can't bet on the fights, but if I could, I'd bet the house on Conor McGregor.
Difference. Max Holloway has been a consistent fighter from the day that he fought Conor McGregor, we'll say, continuously, all the way up until come July, 11th or whatever it is of 2026. He has absolutely increased his ability as a fighter. I think when he fought Conor back then, he may have been like, 2 and 3, or maybe 1 and 2 in the UFC. I mean, he didn't have a great record. He had a string of wins after his loss to Conor, and it's because he improved as a fighter in so many ways. And he's gone against some of the very best fighters out there. He's beaten Jose Aldo twice. He's had all the fights with Volkanovski, which, one of them was, absolutely one that you could have said he won for sure. The other ones, yeah, he lost, but he was right there with him. He's fought the very best, while Conor's.
Brendan Schaub is one of the voices weighing in here, and he believes McGregor genuinely couldn't be walking into a tougher spot than this. In Schaub's view, if McGregor pulls off a highlight reel knockout, it instantly restores his legend and could kick the UFC into another gold rush era. Think blockbuster fights, shattered records, the whole spectacle. But he also sees this as a make or break moment for McGregor. If he steps in there looking like a shell of his former self and gets thoroughly outclassed by Holloway, Sharp thinks that's essentially the beginning of the end for his time in the sport.
All the madness if Conor pulls this win off against Max Holloway. Think of the direction the UFC is going to go. And I love Max. Top 5 favorite. Max is so beloved. I don't know anybody that doesn't like Max Holloway. If Conor pulls this off, gets a knockout, some crazy highlight knockout in the first, second round, pulls this off, just think of the numbies, think of the matchups, think of the excitement, think of the run the UFC is going to go on Paramount. Yeah. Sky's the limit. Stupid numbies.
I just want to see the arena, like what happens there. If he wins, people at home going crazy. And
we're going to watch it together.
Arena.
It's going to be, I'll tell you right now, it's going to be real sad if next Saturday we're all together watching it with me and you, and Conor looks like a shell of himself and gets the shit beat out of him. That's going to be real sad because he closes the chapter. It's over. It's over.
Stepping back from the fight itself, Schaub lays out just how many doors a McGregor win could open for the UFC. Would they go after a welterweight title fight between Islam Makhachev and McGregor, given how tricky that stylistic matchup would be? Or would they instead offer him a shot at Justin Gaethje's lightweight belt? Schaub admits dropping back to 155 pounds might be rough given how much size McGregor's carrying these days, but he figures a genuine title opportunity would make that sacrifice worthwhile. And there's another wrinkle too. A future matchup with Ian Machado Gary could be on the table if Gary manages to get past Makhachev first.
But if he wins, my God, dude, what do they do? If he wins, do you do the Islam title fight at 170? Horrible matchup for him, but do you do that fight? Do you offer him, which I'm sure they will, do you offer him the Justin Gaethje title fight at lightweight? Is Conor down to cut down to 55? He's looking massive right now. Looks like it'd be a miserable cut, but for a title shot, does UFC go, we'll give you a title shot, but it has to be at 55? Does he do that? What if in some crazy world that we live in, this MMA world, Ian Machado Gary beats Islam, and then they do it end of the year or early next year in Dublin, Ian Machado Gary versus Conor McGregor?
Yeah, I personally, if it was me, it would be Gaethje. Just right now is the perfect time. I think him and Gaethje.
Listen, he's going to be, no matter what fight, if he gets past.
When asked how he's preparing to face someone who hasn't fought in so long, Holloway admitted there's a lot of unpredictability built into this matchup. Rather than assuming McGregor is frozen in time as the same fighter from years ago, Holloway says the smarter approach is to expect growth, to assume McGregor's picked up new tools and sharpened his game even during all that time sidelined by injury. As for the critics dismissing McGregor over his 5 years away from the cage, Holloway pushed back on that too, saying those doubters simply don't understand what McGregor's actually been dealing with behind the scenes.
Like, how do you even do something like this where he hasn't fought in 5 years? Do you just, kind of go off the guy we saw before and expect that things can't be dramatically different, or what are you even expecting?
I mean, you gotta kind of think that he grew as a fighter too. You kind of look at his old stuff, that what you can find, and you just kind of think, hey, some things is gonna stick around, and he might add some stuff. So he coming back from a big injury, and there's a bunch of stuff to include, but I think we did what we had to do. We're just days away now, a week away, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see. A lot of people keep counting Conor out, which is insane to me. You know what I mean? I mean, look, like, they was counting Conor out because of the 5 years, and they're like, oh yeah, but the 5 years he got to rest, in my mind. And people is like, no, but like, you see him partying, you see him doing all this, like, bro, people are not following around him 24/7.
Holloway also warned against reading too much into McGregor's social media clips, pointing out that fans only ever see the highlight reel, never the grueling work that happens behind closed doors to get ready for a fight like this. Because of that, he's not walking in expecting some diminished, rusty version of McGregor. He's preparing for someone fully active, and quite possibly even stronger than before.
So you really don't know what he's doing. Just because they're putting out the bad stuff of him, we don't know about the good stuff, And I know this just because every time in camp when I'm playing video games for like 2 hours out of the day, everybody's like, you gotta be training after all my training. So at the end of the day, I'm getting ready for a dangerous Conor McGregor. I think it's going to be a healthy Conor McGregor. I think it's going to be the best version we ever saw. And that's the things that excite me. That excite me. The best Conor McGregor I get to see come July 11th. And when I go out there and do the things that I know I can and will do to him, it's going to be.
Holloway also shut down any talk that McGregor's lost the charisma that made him one of the UFC's biggest draws in the first place. He gave credit where it's due, praising McGregor's confidence and natural gift for promotion, the same qualities that helped build some of the sport's biggest fights. At the same time, he didn't downplay the danger McGregor poses inside the cage, and he's fully expecting the usual trash talk to fly before they ever step in there. Still, Holloway says none of that noise really matters. What happens between the ropes is the only thing that actually counts. Not everyone shares that same optimism about McGregor's return, though Mario Batista believes Holloway holds one crucial advantage heading into this rematch: his consistency and relentless pace. Batista's advice for McGregor is simple: end it early, because every additional second in that cage just hands Holloway more room to take control. Chael Sonnen argued the weight class itself won't decide anything. The better fighter wins, regardless of whether it's at featherweight, lightweight, or welterweight. But he did raise a real concern about McGregor's past leg injury, pointing to the mental hurdles that often follow that kind of setback, referencing Chris Weidman's own struggles after a similar injury. According to Sonnen, McGregor's bound to have some nagging doubts about his mobility, his balance, his ability to kick freely. He also suggested that anyone betting on McGregor is essentially betting on an early finish, not a long fight. Given his explosive, power-heavy style, Sonnen sees McGregor's best window as the opening round, before fatigue starts working against him. He compared that to wrestling, where seasoned grapplers can manage their energy and control pace even when gassed. McGregor doesn't have that same cushion. His whole approach leans on speed, sharp timing, and high-intensity output, all of which naturally fade as the fight wears on. Big John McCarthy chimed in with his own angle, stressing just how far Holloway has come since the first fight between these two. Back then, Holloway was still green, still developing. Now, he's grown into one of the most complete fighters in the entire sport, shaped by years of staying busy against top-tier competition. McCarthy believes that experience makes this version of Holloway a completely different animal than the one McGregor beat the first time around. He also brought up McGregor's long layoff and how difficult it typically is to return after that much time away. McCarthy still thinks McGregor's dangerous early and can hurt anybody in round one, but he expects the fight to increasingly favor Holloway the longer it goes. He also noted that competing at 170 might force McGregor to be careful managing his weight, while Holloway should walk in noticeably more comfortable in his own skin. Add in Holloway's durability, steady development, and track record against elite competition, and McCarthy thinks those factors could end up deciding the fight. Even with all that skepticism floating around, not everyone thinks McGregor is headed for a letdown. BKFC president David Feldman has been fully vocal in his confidence, saying that after spending time around McGregor personally, he's never seen him in better shape. Feldman describes him as mentally sharp, fully locked in, and fueled by a sense of purpose that feels different from years past. Convinced a huge comeback is coming, Feldman even confirmed he'll be cage-side for the rematch, cheering McGregor on in person. So who do you think gets their hand raised, McGregor or Holloway? Drop your prediction and your reasoning in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this one, go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our latest MMA news, breakdowns, and predictions.